Hello everyone and welcome to the Barcast channel. My name is Slick Like Vick and I've been so generously invited today to cast a few games for you guys. We will be looking at a best of 3 series between X Factor, also currently known as Darth Raven in the game, and Flying Duck from the APM clan. Now these games were played on the round 16 elimination stage of the Bar Pro League tournament, so you know we're in for some high level games. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here. If you guys like this video, please make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm sure it helps out a lot and you will be notified next time Barcast puts out another video. He always covers these high level 1v1 games and they are super fun, so yeah. Anyways, without further ado, let's actually get into the game. So for game 1, we are finding ourselves on Prismatic Anomaly. It is a big flat map that doesn't support wind. It's only broken up by these pyramids, which are not traversable by bots or vehicles. So with any big flat solar map, the more popular choice is usually vehicles as the opening lab. And let's take a look at how these players open. Indeed, we see a Cortex vehicle lab for Flying Duck. Gonna queue up a few Rascals, Incisors, and Constructors. And the same goes for X Factor. He's also going for core vehicles and has about the same queue. So yeah, the big difference we see right off the bat here is in the way they spawn. So X Factor chose the corner spawn, tends to be a little bit more safe, a little bit easier to defend raids by just blocking off these few chokes around your base, but obviously a little bit farther away from expansion. On the other side, Flying Duck chose the middle, which obviously gives you closer expansions, but is a little bit harder to defend. So let's see who will get more value out of the scout stage, the Rascal versus Rascal stage here in the beginning. Also with the new changes to the vehicle lab from the most recent patch, not the vehicle lab but the tier 1 labs in general, they have way more build power on their own, so you can afford to walk away a lot earlier, and this is what we see Darth Raven do. Flying Duck is still in the base. Okay, we see the first rover come in. Will it get sniped by the commander? No, just manages to dodge it in time. Let's see if Flying Duck will find any damage here. Nope, gets met by 3 opposing Rascals instead and is forced to retreat. On the other side, we see 4 Rascals for X Factor closing in on Duck's base. Let's see if he can find something done here. Ideally, you want to find a Constructor, want to snipe off a few mixes here and there. Let's see. 4 versus 2. Manages to kill both of the defending Rascals. Will be able to snipe this mix, so forces the Constructor to restart it. Good bit of damage. The Incisor will come to save the day. On the other side, we see some Rascals from Duck trying to get in. Oh, they both get sniped, and yeah, no damage taken from X Factor Live. Both players going into Incisor production now. The Incisor is such a solid tank. So much damage, so much range, so reliable. It's, yeah. Definitely not a surprise that it's the choice for both players here. Very, very popular. Currently, the stats looking a little bit in the favor of X Factor. It seems that he has more metal extractors at the moment. This will probably change as Flying Duck is expanding in both directions at the same time. A little bit more aggressive on the expansion here, but so far, a very quiet game. Not much damage taken from both players. X Factor completes these 3 metal extractors and chooses to walk back to the lab to spend the metal using the build power from his commander. This is something he's known for. He's kind of the first person that started doing this, this sequence. No radar up for Flying Duck yet, kind of playing on the edge here. This Incisor gets quickly spotted by X Factor's radar, moving his own Incisors into position, and it's very unlikely that this Constructor will go down. On the other side, we see this blue Rascal managed to sneak in. There is no radar in this corner for Flying Duck and absolutely no defenses available. Not really any units nearby apart from these Rascals. This Rascal has a lot of potential. He can get a lot of damage done. Let's keep an eye on it. Oh, one Vex doesn't go down. Yeah, there we go. X Factor moves it back into position. Let's see, what is the response from Duck here? Immediately moves the Rascals to defend. One Mex will for sure go down. Continues moving. No defense in this area over here. Let's see if this Incisor will move into position to cut the Rascal off. And I think that will be it. Yeah, okay. So one Metal Extractor. Not much damage, but we have to keep in mind the Constructor needs to go back here and remake it. So yeah. Oh! While I wasn't looking, another Rascal snuck in. And that's the downside of not having radar anywhere. Duck does not have a radar anywhere built yet. So yeah, it's really easy for one Rascal to just sneak in and get that bit of damage done. It looks like this one will also go down. And yeah, did I miss anything on the other side of the map? I don't think so. Everything looks to be intact so far for X Factor. I don't see any damage done. This one Incisor in the middle will get caught out. And that's a big ball of Incisors here for X Factor. There's 13 Incisors moving to the middle. That is a lot of army. Duck definitely needs to make some sort of response for this, because it is looking very scary. At the same time, some Rascals manage to sneak in. We'll most likely get a mix or two if micro properly. Oh, these Incisors getting in on the flank. A very timely self-destruct on that laser tower from Darth Raven, but will not be enough to get all of the Incisors, and they will manage to get the Constructor and deny this area. Very, very good pickup for Flying Duck. On the other side, the big ball of Incisors are starting to move into Flying Duck's area, and these can be very, very dangerous. It looks like they will completely take out this 3-mex cluster. It doesn't look like Flying Duck has any sizable response mounted up yet. We'll need to obviously meet him with Incisors of his own. Let's see if these Incisors keep moving in. Yeah, there we go. They keep moving in. And yeah, this is very dangerous here. Flying Duck definitely needs to send all of his units over here. Stat. Yeah, as we predicted, 3 Metal Extractors here go down together with the Light Laser Tower. And yeah, we're still looking at a big army superiority here from X Factor. Flying Duck kind of sends in 5 of his Incisors before waiting for the reinforcements to come, loses them. Not a very good engagement. And X Factor just keeps moving in. Oh, decides to retreat right now. On the other side of the map, a single Incisor seems to sneak in, but there's nothing for it to kill here, and it goes down. Let's go back. Yeah, more and more Incisors for Flying Duck get picked off here. The damage efficiency is almost at 50%. If we take a look at the statistics, yeah, it is actually at 50%. Yeah, a couple of unfavorable trades here. Still no radar available for Duck, so he is kind of he has to use a lot of his units as line of sight, which means that he has to have units everywhere. But he seems to drive off X Factor's force here. Are they going to skirmish again? Yes. Let's see who will come out on top from this engagement. Let's turn up the volume a little bit to hear these Incisor lasers. Alright. Yeah. I'm not sure. It felt pretty even. Maybe a little bit X Factor on top. He has so many Incisors already available to reinforce. We're looking at a 75% difference in army value in favor of X Factor live. But Duck has the metal advantage for the moment. Let's see if he's able to mount up an equal force to defend this attack. But so far, this area will definitely struggle, as there is nothing in this area to reinforce. A couple of light laser towers, but Incisors are very good at killing light laser towers. They have so high damage and such high health. They don't really get repelled by laser towers as grunts do, for example. Yeah, this Constructor will go down, and Duck doesn't have any pressure mounted up anywhere yet. At the same time, we see a few Rascals sneak into the top right corner. We'll most likely take this Constructor out again. Let's move back to look at the main engagement here. Yeah, I mean, this area will go down, in my opinion. Some Pounders out now for Duck. They will do great repelling these Incisor balls back, but they're very slow, so he will lose a lot before they get into position. And yeah, wow, the army difference here is huge in favor of X Factor, and Duck just calls the GG. Duck bows out, and that is game 1 on Prismatic Anomaly going to X Factor. Let's move on to game number 2. Alright, for game number 2, we find ourselves on Falendel. Probably the smallest map in the entire BPL map pool. And yeah, this map usually resolves on T1. We rarely see it go to Tier 2. And there's a lot of skirmishes basically between bots all the time. Let's take a look at how our players are opening. Darth Raven, going for that bottom left spawn, decides to go for 1 metal extractor, 3 wind turbines, and then a lab for bots. This is a very quick bot lab opening. He chooses to skip the 3 metal extractors that usually players open and decides to go for the bot lab. On the other side, Flying Duck taking all 3 of his mexes, going for a little bit of energy, and for the lab himself, he chooses to go for Cortex bots, while X Factor is obviously on those Armada bots. Yeah, we're most likely going to be seeing a Pawn versus Grunt game here. And yeah, let's take a look at this. Will this be an aggressive opening from Darth Raven, or does he have something else in mind? Obviously a big difference in the way they spawn. Rather than it being symmetrical and X Factor spawning up here to get these 4 mexes, he chooses to spawn down here. I believe the reason for this spawn is the fact that there are more trees available in the area. He maybe also picked it to be able to do damage to Flying Duck early. We see these ticks coming out now. Together with the energy from the res bots reclaiming the trees, he will be able to pump out a lot of units very early. Constructor going out now. On the other hand, Flying Duck is going for a 2 Constructor opening with a Lazarus, so he's not going to have any units in time out of the lab to answer these ticks. Let's see if he gets any damage done here. X Factor trying to kill 1 Constructor. The Constructor that just left the lab will repair it. Grunt out. Grunt's absolutely brilliant at taking out ticks ever since the latest update where their lasers became 100% accurate. But as I'm saying that, 2 more ticks come from the south. They managed to quickly take out a Resbot. They're not very healthy, not like Constructors. Looking to get some more damage done. I don't believe they will, as Grunts are now out of the lab and in position. But yeah, 1 Resbot is pretty good damage also. So 2 Constructors out for that Raven, expanding in both directions, and Pawns on the queue. So yeah, we're in for a standard Grunt versus Pawn game. And yeah, well, it will just come down to micro. Which player has the better micro? Which player has the units in position? Let's keep a look. Let's keep an eye. 4 Pawns from X Factor coming into the center of Flying Duck's base, but he already has the radar in position. He has 5 Grunts in position. He should be able to defend this little engagement, and yeah, manages to drive X Factor back. At the same time, 1 tick alive at the back of the base. They're just running around looking for any Constructors, but they have not left the base yet. So yeah, no harm done yet. Both players still keeping their commanders at home to boost that lab, make more units out very, very quickly. So in this latest patch, we've been in a Grunt infantry meta for a very long time. For 2 years, I believe the Grunts have been the most popular choice on these bot maps because they forever had very big range on the Pawns, and well, all around just a better unit. They would always win fights more efficiently. Pawns got buffed recently, and I believe right now, after all the balance changes, most people agree it's kind of 50-50, if not a little bit Grunt favored. But I believe ultimately it just comes down to player micro. I think this could be winnable for both matchups, depending on who plays better. So yeah. Pawns trying to get in, get some damage done. Grunts are in position from Flying Duck. Also has an expansion going on down here. Defending with some Grunts as well. A very 50-50 game so far, it looks like. Maybe a little bit of X Factor favorite with the expansions. Single pawn gonna go down in the middle. Yeah, there we go. A little skirmish in the north. Neither player wants to really commit to a fight. Obviously, it can be very tricky leaving the reclaim on the ground. After that, you want to fight for it to gain an advantage, so they don't really want to commit. X Factor, though, committing here a little bit into the Grunts. Loses 2 pawns. No, it's a pawn for a Grunt exchange, so equal. At the same time, a little skirmish goes down here in the south. 1 pawn goes down. 1 Grunt, 2 pawns. Damn. Yeah, it seems like this is the Grunts here trading really, really well. Most of these pawns are going to go down. These pawns from earlier are trying to catch back up, but this is a lot of Grunts available for Flying Duck, and he's on X Factor's doorstep. There are only 5 pawns here for the defense, but so many Grunts just streaming in. The Grunt being the cheaper unit to make. They're usually also more in count. Flying Duck is going to split off here, trying to get a Constructor. X Factor manages to save it on time. More pawns and Grunts go down here for the reinforcement. This group of 6 will take out a mix. We'll try to find this Resbot as well. And it just looks like Flying Duck has more army available here. He's looking to go into the base and go for the kill, but Thugs out now for Dark Raven. We'll see if the Thugs will pay off here. Very, very slow units, but obviously if you get a good amount of them, the Grunts cannot really do anything about it. All of this 400 metal reclaim on the ground looks like will be entirely secured by Flying Duck. What is the unit of choice for Flying Duck? He just keeps going on more Grunts. He has 957 on his lab. We'll just double down on the Grunt. Has he spotted the Thugs yet? Yes, he has. I wonder if he's gonna... sorry, maces. They're equivalent to Thugs. Let's see if he's gonna go for maces of his own. I mean, Thugs. Yeah, there we go. He switches to Thugs, puts the lab on repeat, and it seems like we're going in a Thug versus Mace transition here from both players. A few Grunts gonna try to find damage here in the south, but 2 light laser towers are in position and will repel the attack. 16 Grunts here available for the north, but we have a lot of light laser towers in position and they will not be able to find damage, but they do stop the blue constructor from expanding forward, while this red constructor will be able to continue, as Flying Duck is currently under no pressure and has managed to turn the game around. These Thugs though, these maces, sorry, they will be a problem if Flying Duck allows X Factor to get them into a big ball. Once the Grunts lose the ability to flank them and apply that flanking damage, the maces win the engagement very, very considerably. The red Thugs slowly marching towards the front. Dark Raven's commander now moves out of the base. He has substituted his build power with some constructors. Will use him to capture some of these more risky middle mixes and fortify them. Same for Flying Duck. Also chooses to move out of his lab now after building a construction turret to substitute the build power. And yeah, we're back into a very stable game with a slight metal per second advantage for Flying Duck. A big amount of Grunts here forming in the north, 20 Grunts. They're looking to deny this expansion from Darth Raven. Let's see if they will succeed. Some of the Thugs making here in the middle, but Flying Duck does not have an appropriate radar available here in the middle, so he cannot really see how many units Darth Raven has. At the same time, the Grunts from earlier managed to find the construction bot, get the kill, and also managed to drive the defending pawns back. This is a very good trade for Flying Duck. Denies this entire expansion, while his equivalent expansion on the other side is going on. As I'm yapping away, the Thugs and the Maces are going back and forth. Obviously, in this engagement, the units retreating have the advantage, because units in bar can move and shoot at the same time. That is usually the case. We have 13 Maces available for X Factor and 13 Grunts available for Duck. A very equal fight so far. Not really sure who is winning, hard to tell yet. Both players are picking off. It looks like Darth Raven is picking off a few more Thugs than Flying Duck is picking off Maces. Will come down to the better repair from the commanders. Did I hear a plane? Wow, I did, yeah. So Flying Duck gets an air lab, queues up 5 bombers. Decides to not really go all in on the Thug production here, while X Factor forced to switch back to pawns to repel these Grunt attacks on the north. Yeah, this game looks very, very much in favor of Flying Duck right now, but anything can happen. More Maces go down here in the middle, more Grunts engage pawns in the north. The light laser tower will go down. It looks like Flying Duck has now has the plasma bot superiority in the middle. Grunts go in on the north, pick off a couple more pawns. This is not looking very good for X Factor so far. He is down on land army while Flying Duck is making bombers in the back. X Factor definitely in a very disadvantageous position here. 800 reclaim on the ground that Duck is going to be able to comfortably secure. Bombers going in now. No scout playing with the bombers. Does Duck see where the windmills are? No, he's going to try and guess. Let's see, is the damage substantial? Not so far. A couple wind turbines and a metal extractor go down. Some Grunts go in and engage pawns in the north. Bombers come back, drop more bombs. Yeah, these turbines here are kind of closely... And they all chain and explode! X Factor is down to 80 energy per second protection. It's not looking good. Without energy, you can't make any more units. So Flying Duck will slowly get the win here, I think. Let's see how these engagements go. Bombers finally all go down. More bombers made in the background, though. Yeah, it looks like X Factor has won the Mace versus Tug battle here in the middle, the Plasma battle. But Flying Duck keeps making more Tugs in response. And X Factor can't really afford because he just lost all of his energy. Flying Duck's commander here, under some fire, is going to go down to 40%. Gonna start degunning these maces. They step a little bit too forward. All of X Factor's army is suddenly dead. Only 4 pawns are left here to try and snipe the commander. That's his only option at the moment. So he's going in to see if he can win a commander versus commander exchange. But he's already on lower HP than Flying Duck himself. Yeah, I think X Factor is going to go down here, and there we go. Flying Duck wins game 2, and we're in a 1-to-1 situation. Next game will decide the winner. Alright friends, for game number 3 we find ourselves on Otago. Very exciting series so far, might I say. It's a 1-to-1 in a best of 3, which means that this game basically decides the outcome. And once again, we see Flying Duck as the red Cortex commander in the top right of the map, and Darth Raven as the blue Cortex commander. Now, this is very interesting. Darth Raven chooses to go for a no metal extractor spawn. This is possible on Otago because you have these big reclaim piles of 850 metal each. 2 piles available for both players. So you can afford to use the reclaim as your starting bit of metal and then grab the metal extractors. It is risky though. It is very risky. Because it is not a stable income as the metal extractors are. So we'll see if X Factor manages to make this work. I'm assuming he's going for an aggressive opener after he grabs this metal. We see 5 Rascals and 20 Incisors queued up already. On the other side, Flying Duck is going for a very standard opening, picks up all of his metal extractors, makes energy, makes the lab. He's going for a Cortex bot lab. Is going to sorry about that. Is going to utilize res bots for this metal. And yeah, just a very standard opener from Flying Duck. Is going to go heavy on the grunts, as we see 13,000 get queued up from the lab. I wonder if he will make every single one of them. I hope so. Construction turret goes down here for Darth Raven. Very, very early construction turret. Yeah, we'll be very interested. We'll keep a close eye on the aggression here in the beginning. Usually grunts versus incisors tend to be a very incisor favored matchup. Incisors are a very, very strong unit, as we already discussed. They outrange the grunt, they outdamage the thug, they outdamage the grunt, they have more HP. So they can kind of poke in and out and often get the very, very favorable trade. So I am predicting that we'll see a very, very early switch from Flying Duck into a vehicle lab. He's most likely opening bots here just to get these res bots to be able to quickly grab the metal. As we see, X Factor actually opt to go for a way slower construction vehicle that has way less build power to grab the metal. First few Rascals make it out of the lab, 5 in total. Now we see Incisors all immediately right-click to the enemy side of the map. Flying Duck also chooses to send his first few grunts forward. Let's see if he manages to scout the aggression from X Factor. By the way, once more guys, while we're in this downtime, I just want to remind, if you like the game so far, hit that like button. You will be a very cool person if you do so. Anyway, the first few Rascals manage to find the grunts. Flying Duck pays attention. X Factor also reroutes them to the north. Grunts very good at killing these scout units, as we said already, with their accurate lasers. X Factor will try to pick off these 2 construction, but 2 construction turrets build light laser towers extremely quickly. If Duck had the energy to afford them, obviously. So I don't think these Rascals will be able to find any damage done. The grunts are already in position. We'll pick off 1, 2, 3 Rascals going down. No, only 2. 2 more available, but their retreat path is also covered very well. Very good positioning from Flying Duck. His grunts, on the other hand, oh my god, this will be very close. Will this grunt find this constructor? I don't think so. With his current path and his limited line of sight, I don't think he's going to be able to find this constructor vehicle. So a very lucky constructor vehicle. It is a very unorthodox expanding path, so it is normal that Duck doesn't make the effort to check up there. But anyway, as I'm talking about that, the first few incisors managed to find their way on the red side of the map. What are they looking for? They are looking to grab the expanding constructor who usually goes to this area, but there isn't one yet. Flying Duck has not yet made a constructor to expand to this area. In fact, his first 2 constructors were sent to this 6 mechs cluster. As I'm talking about that, the red grunts from earlier get located and get eliminated by these incisors. Very easy for them to pick off a few grunts like that. So, no constructor gets found in this area. Let's see where the incisors go next. I should probably be zooming in more on these fights, huh? I'm sorry, guys. It's my first ever, like, cast where I control the camera. So, excuse any amateur viewing displeasures that I'm causing you. Incisors here will be picked off by the reinforcing grunts. These 3 incisors from earlier flee to the south, as they did not find any damage. At the same time, 3 grunts from Flying Duck managed to find themselves into the south area of X Factor, and they will be able to do a lot of damage unless reinforcing units come to this area very quickly. No light laser tower available in this area, no radar constructed here in time, so they managed to pick off 3 metal extractors, but the constructor manages to escape in this dark corner. Very well done from the constructor. He is the big prize in this raid, and he knows it. If he goes down, he will cause X Factor a lot of headaches, but he does not. Like a true hero. And these grunts will probably find 1 more metal extractor of damage before going down. Yes, that is exactly what happens. And this raid gets repelled. At the same time, on the north, we see 2 grunts sneak by the border patrol. Consisted of these 3 incisors will go in. Let's see if they find any damage done. This constructor is here, but there's an incisor right next to it. I don't think they will be able to kill it at all. At the same time, a light skirmish happens here in the middle. But nothing too big. Okay. Constructor gets found. Manages to evade once again. Metal extractor gonna go down, and these grunts will be picked off. Alright. Very dynamic game at the moment. Obviously, when you have so much energy available, this map has insane wind. Insanely good wind. When you have so much energy available and so much metal on the ground, you can afford to go crazy on the build power, and you can construct a lot of units. So yeah, this map tends to be very dynamic on tier 1 until the moment comes where both players kind of start setting up some static defense and both of these chokes, and it's very hard for anybody to proceed, so we see them tech up. A few grunts go down to a few incisors here in the middle, but nothing too crazy. These trades do look a little bit Flying Duck favored at the moment, and he is up on the army value. He also switches to vehicles himself. I was going to say ducks. He switches to vehicles himself, so we're going to see incisor versus incisor battles from now on. These 2 constructors venture a little bit too far forward. No army with them to protect them. Will they get spotted by X Factor? Let's see. Yes, he does spot them with this Rascal at the front. Rascals obviously have very good vision as their scout vehicles. These 2 constructors will go down, and that hurts a lot. Very good pickup for X Factor Life. At the same time, a lot of army value here available for Duck will start getting in at the south side of X Factor Life. 3 constructors available here. If these go down, that will be very, very painful. He has the army value advantage. Does he find the constructors? Yes, he does. Immediately reroutes all the army to see if he can get them. Do they get focused down? Kind of. He's not focusing the constructors, though. What? He keeps going north instead. Oh no, Duck. He has so much army available here. He could have picked off these 3 constructors. That would have been so much damage. Would have slowed down the expansion so much. If X Factor would have had to remake them. Very unfortunate for Duck for sure. This ball of units will encounter the X Factor's commander. Is he paying attention? Yes, he is. Deegans will go down. Huge Deegans. Basically, everybody goes down here except for an incisor and for a grunt. And these forces will, for sure, be intercepted at some point. Most likely we'll find this constructor. I want to quickly pay attention to this attack from the south side from X Factor Live. He has 9 incisors. There is no radar available here for Duck. There are no defending units in this area. This can do a lot of damage if they manage to sneak in this way and into the base. Shuriken now available for Flying Duck. But incisors are very good at repelling shuriken. You almost always want to have more shuriken than incisors in your engagement. Otherwise, incisors will kind of just zip-zap them out of the sky like flies. The incisor and the grunt going down. And this constructor will live and will expand to this area. Okay, so far, metal per second wise, we're looking pretty equal. However, X Factor is definitely up on the expansion. The incisor finally gets found. Shuriken gets sent to the area, but as I said, yeah, they just get zip-zapped out of the sky. Incisor, yeah, very, very capable of defending himself from air. You always want to have more shuriken than there are incisors present. But ultimately, I think this will be enough to scare X Factor away. He knows that if he commits, he will most likely lose these units without really achieving any damage, so he just pulls back. Does he go into an air lab as a response himself? Yes, he does. Immediately makes fighters the only logical response in this situation. And yeah. Oh, these insides actually have the potential to spot this constructor that was sneaky enough to escape them earlier. Shuriken going in once again. Freezing these incisors so Flying Duck can pick them off from behind. And a few go down here and there. Shuriken so good at forcing these extremely efficient trades. A very good map control unit. They're so quick. They almost have the same speed as the tier 1 fighter. They can be very evasive if they decide to run away. But they go down here to the first few fighters that came out of X Factor's live. And the X Factor's lab, sorry. And these incisors will also go down. But we see a huge engagement with what is this? 22 incisor here from down the middle from X Factor. But but Flying Duck has already switched to Brutes. Brutes very good at efficiently trading versus Incisor as they are the next unit in the tree. Obviously Incisor has an advantage as long as it can flank them and apply that flanking damage. But once the moment for that is gone, Brutes are what you want to go for. Do we see any other transition? Yes, we do. Just as I said that, instead of going for Boots himself, X Factor chooses to put down the tier 2 Cortex lab. And now the fun begins, I believe. This map always gets a lot more fun when it goes into the tiers 2 stage, in my opinion. So let's see where this tier 2 Cortex vehicle lab will take us. Will we see Tsars? Will we see Banisher? Will we see Tiger? I'm gonna make a prediction and say that we're gonna see a little bit of everything. But X Factor has to do something about this big brute attack. This is a big ball of brutes and incisors running towards his base. He doesn't really have shuriken. He reclaimed his air lab already. So this is a very potent attack here from Flying Duck. No defense available here. No unit. The lab is not even done. And X Factor doesn't have the metal. He's queued up a Tsar, but he does not have the metal to construct it. This Tsar will take a while. It's like minutes away. He's already inside the base of X Factor. Absolutely no defense available. He has to drop these emergency light laser towers. Moves the commander back to see if he can use them to defend. This is looking very bad. This is looking very bad for X Factor. So many units in his base and no units of his own to defend. These incisors are running behind trying to catch up, but the damage is already here and the damage will be done. Let's see how will this engagement proceed. Oh no, don't tell me that Duck will run all these units into... Yeah, X Factor, Cloaked Commander will be able to secure these clutch D-guns, and that was basically the only way he comes out on top in this engagement. And he manages to D-gun so many tanks. 10 Brutes, 15 Incisor go down to the Commander D-guns. This Commander has 30 kills. Wow, what a clutch from X Factor. That was the only way he survives this situation. He needed those clutch D-guns, and he got them. We still have a game on our hands, folks. Did Duck scout the tier 2 lab? Yes, he did. Will he go into tier 2 himself? Not really. At the moment, he just has more incisors on repeat from the lab. Made a few pounders from earlier. I guess he's gonna double down on a T1 aggression. We'll send a bunch of brute and incisor to go for another attack. And yeah, let's see if he succeeds here. Wow, what a game so far, bro. Very dynamic. Otago often brings us these games where it's not just a tier 1 fight through and through. One person usually goes into tier 2. Yeah, very fun. I like maps like these. I very much enjoy maps like these where it's more than one strategy that you can go for, and you see a lot of different variability. Anyway, a few incisors find themselves here between a brute and a hard place, between a pounder and a hard place. Not a very favorable engagement. Will go down. That's a big ball of tier 1 units from Flying Duck, but the Tsar is already out, and the Tsar is very potent at killing tier 1 tanks. So I don't think this will do a lot of damage. Unless they manage to go around the Tsar, which I don't see happening. This choke is narrow enough for the Tsar to be able to use its 650 range and almost 300 AoE radius. Yeah, Flying Duck chooses to go to the south, but do we see more units from X Factor? Not at the moment. On the minimap, we can see Flying Duck is already going for his own tier 2 lab, also Cortex vehicles. Bots, I don't think very viable. on a 1v1 on this big of a map. The Tsar now in position, starts shooting at these tier 1 tanks. The Pounder's forced to go back as one Pounder completely flies off the screen. And that's the power of the Tsar, ladies and gentlemen. Complete destructive tank power. Some Tiger manages to find 5 Brutes. Will be most likely able to repel them. Tiger's so durable. They barely take any damage. To be fair, they barely do any damage. They're kind of just a big fast wall that runs at you. But this attack should not do too much. We'll most likely get a couple of mixes gone, and that will be it. This Lightless Tower cannot shoot because the wind is not very high at the moment. X Factor does not have much energy in the back. So yeah, these defenses not very useful at the moment. They're kind of like big flashlights without any energy. They're kind of like cameras, you know. They just look at the units as they're coming at them. But yeah, apart from these few metal extractors, nothing else will go down. And now we get into the stage where it's kind of decided by who is better at upgrading their metal extractors faster. Obviously, this map has a couple of geothermal locations. If I remember, there are 3, 1 in the middle and 1 on each side. So whoever player takes better advantage of these extremely efficient energy buildings will come out ahead. We already see X Factors go for one extremely quickly. This is probably like the first and the second tier 2 construct that came out of the lab. Immediately started racing towards this area. Already upgrading some metal extractors at home. So is Duck, to be fair. So we'll keep advantage on the statistics here at the top. And we'll see who comes out on top, yeah. A few more. Oh, the music is a little bit loud, isn't it? I'll turn it down. A few more Brutes and Pounders find themselves in between. 4 Exploders and a Twin Guard will go down. T1 vehicles usually very, very good at surviving light laser fire. However, when it's 4 Exploiters and you're in the middle of them all taking that flanking damage, you will go down. Alright, a little bit of downtime right now as both players are getting their metal extractors. Let's see who is doing it faster. 3 Constructors out from Flying Duck, upgrading this cluster. He goes for a fusion in base instead of taking advantage of any of these geothermal vents. I think that will bite him as he basically has to pay a premium. This fusion costs 4,000 metal as opposed to the 1,900. I'm not mistaken, right? 1,500. Wow, it's even cheaper than I thought. Of the geothermal power plant that constructs even more energy than the fusion. So yeah, this will come out to bite him in the back. He's basically paying 3,000 metal more for less energy. X Factor already has the geothermal secured, and yeah, we see a few grunts and a few tigers approach the middle here, but 6 tigers are in position from Flying Duck. And we're not going to see any action for about 2,000 reclaim here go on the ground. I actually didn't notice that. That's a very significant amount of reclaim that will basically be grabbed for free by X Factor. We see close to 1,000 lying here in the north. Actually, way more than 1,000. Wow. Would love to see this grabbed up as well. Flying Duck does have an aircon back from when he had an air lab available. I'd love to see him use this to grab the metal here lying around before it gets picked off. And yeah, let's take a look at these metal extractors. So, from Dark Raven, we have 11 metal extractors available and that advanced geothermal power plant. From Flying Dog, we have 12 metal extractors available and that fusion. In terms of army value, X Factor is ahead a little bit, but it's basically dead even. On everything else though, he's ahead on energy, ahead on build power. Metal produced is kind of dead even. Yeah, I mean, still a very, very equal game. Like, it could go both ways here. It really depends who is better at these tier 2 vehicle versus tier 2 vehicle engagements. You have to basically get the right balance, I think, between Banisher, Tiger, Tsar. You have to have flak in your army to not lose to any shuriken, surprise shuriken attacks or anything like that. Cortex tier 2 vehicles kind of notorious at not being very equipped at killing spam. X Factor has a very sizable amount of grunts here, so that could prove a little bit problematic for Flying Duck. Let's see, what are both people producing? So we see more Tsar on repeat actually from Darth Raven. That is his unit of choice for this game. Very, very powerful unit. And Flying Duck is currently producing some Tigers, but he already has a few Tsars and a few Banishers out. So let's see. Banishers usually tend to trade efficiently into Tsars, but you need to have enough of them so you don't get run over by the Tsars if they choose to just go forward and not really care about the consequences. Grunt's gonna start seeping in from everywhere. Basically, X Factor's asking, do you have enough defenses everywhere, Duck? Can I get a few mexes from you? But Duck manages to repel them kind of everywhere. Loses a few wind turbines here in the south, but ultimately not much more. So, checking in on the statistics once again during this downtime, it seems like X Factor is now considerably ahead in metal per second and energy per second. It seems that he was able to upgrade metal extractors more quickly than his opponent, and that is usually what decides games that go to this stage. Let's see if Duck can get crafty and come back into this game. It seems like we have a south versus north situation forming here. Duck has a lot of units available on the north, while X Factor has more units available here on the south. Duck is going in. He's going to hit these Tigers. They're so durable. They don't care about these light laser towers shooting on them. They can tank them for days. Will he pick off this tier 2 constructor hit Duck? No, instead chooses to go for the metal extractor. Banisher is taking pot shots at these Tigers that are trying to flank them, and there we go. Yeah, the Banisher is very well equipped at very well equipped at shooting at all other tanks from that vehicle lab, but also very well equipped at dealing friendly fire damage, as we see right there. With the grunts, when the grunts start running into your army like that, you kind of want to put your Banishers on hold fire to not really hurt your own units as much. The 5 Tsars now moving into positions. Damn. Look at these big shots. Tsars also have so much impulse. They basically stop whatever they're shooting at in their tracks. So extremely adept at defending. A few engagements kind of sprawling out here in both sides. Will be hard to keep track at everything that's going on from now on in this game. A forward advanced geothermal gets built by Darth Raven. Kind of in a risky position. If Duck moves his army over here, he'll be able to punish that. At the same time, the Banishers managed to get on top of these Tsars. The Banishers, yeah, very well equipped at shooting at the Tsars. One Tsar goes down. Is Flying Duck overextending here, though? We have a Scorpion pop-up battery available for the defense. I think this is a little bit of an overextend from Duck. When you get this late into the game, it's all about who can grab this reclaim after the fight is done. And I think this reclaim is kind of more in X Factor's area here, but in between his defenses. But as I'm saying that, Duck keeps gets the pop-up down, tries to get the constructor down, has res bolts available to grab the reclaim. Just quickly gonna take a glance over the south engagement here. 2 Tsars gonna go down for the defense. Will Duck go up here and snipe the advanced geothermal? Most probably not. Also advanced geothermal available here that is very, very exposed. If Duck remembers to send just 1 or 2 units there, can get a lot of damage done. 7,000 reclaim on the ground here. Is this construction trying to do damage? Anything? No, it's just tweaking out there in space. Damn, I don't know how to speak anymore. Shuriken out for the defense now. We'll freeze these 3 Tigers and they will get caught out. But a lot of Tigers here from Duck managed to get through in the middle, and they're gonna get a lot of damage on. 2 metal extractors go down. Duck spots the advanced geothermal, now manually sets this Tiger to shoot at it as soon as it gets through the wall of constructors that are defending. Shuriken now out for the defense at this side, and this geothermal will most likely get saved. At the same time, a few grunts managed to sneak up here in the north area, tried to pick up a few of these advanced metal extractors, do not manage to do so. Wasps available now for X Factor. Transition to tier 2 air. What is Flying Duck working on? He's working on an Aphis instead, and has a tier 3 experimental gantry. Obviously, we'll have to reclaim this tier 1 lab. Also tier 2 air. Wow, Duck has it all. Duck has 4,000 metal in the bank. It seems like he got most of this reclaim in the middle. That is crazy. If he's able to potently put this metal into more tier 3 units, the Shivas will be able to efficiently trade against anything that comes out of the tier 2 vehicle lab. And yeah, I mean, Duck can go ahead. Duck, can come back into this game. He was looking behind on the statistics. He still is. But getting so much reclaim from the middle and having all of this infrastructure out already, an advanced fusion reactor is crazy in this situation. I would love to see him, you know, pick up some more of these advanced geothermals instead, but damn, we still got a close game on our hands, I believe. A few Tigers gonna sneak in, as soon as they manage to climb up this hill. Tigers usually very quick, but up a hill, not so much. They're gonna try to get this advanced geothermal. They have to be quick about it because the Shuriken and the Wasps are coming for the defense. I don't think they will be able to get it, especially because they're not really focusing it either. Yeah. This geothermal will survive. Damn, such a shame. Flying Duck was close to sniping 2 geothermal power plants, fell short on both. And now X Factor with the counterattack. Big ball of grunts and Tigers coming in on the south. Flying Duck doesn't really have any gunships available for defense. He only makes fighters, and he's very, very behind on the fighters, might I add. Will probably not succeed in gaining the air superiority here in this fight. Yeah, all of his fighters kind of go down. And nothing really to stop these Tigers. Shiva, very powerful unit, but not very good at cleaning up attacking forces as they're very slow. You kind of need them to be in position, and if they're not, you can lose a lot of your metal extractors. And we're most likely going to see this happen here with this attack. X Factor sends all of the fighters into Flying Duck's base. Let's see if he's able to spot the advanced fusion. There we go. Spots the advanced fusion, spots the tier 3, spots basically everything. Gets a full scout on the commander as well. And some flak coming down now from Duck to be able to defend from any bombing. Do we see any bombers built? No, we're still on fighters and scout planes. This attack still going strong from X Factor. He gets the shuriken on the offense to freeze this advanced metal extractor. Stop it from producing metal temporarily. Now permanently, because it went down. What else do we got? The Shivas marching down the middle. 8 Shivas, really strong numbers, but Shivas also very vulnerable to shuriken. They can get frozen in place and picked off if there is no flak trucks available. But damn, all the shuriken available for X Factor go down to these 2 flak trucks. Flak trucks extremely adept at killing shuriken. They're so squishy and they're high in numbers. Exactly the perfect target for the flak truck. Yeah, very good that Duck has these flak trucks available because he can't make anymore. He does not have a tier 2 vehicle lab anymore. He only has the Shivas. If he wants to make anti-air from this lab, he has to opt for Cargonets instead. A few Tigers now go in. I don't believe they will manage to get a lot of damage done. They choose to go up and kill this geothermal power plant, but they are so very slow climbing up. Let's see if they'll be able to get picked off by these defending Shiva. On the other side, the Tiger Ball from earlier manages to sneak into the base of Flying Duck. Shiva very good at defending if they are in position. Do that high explosive damage. Tigers are so durable, man. Look, they barely take any damage. Will go down without really killing much here. It looks like just a few wins are going to go down, but at this stage that doesn't really matter because we literally have advanced fusions on the field already. But a lot of metal extractors missing here for Duck, while X Factor more or less still has most of his side of the map secured. This geothermal does not go down to the Tsars we saw earlier. Man, what a game, dude. What a game. Another attack here from X Factor with a bunch of Tigers and Grunts. It will get very easily cleaned up by these Shivas. We have a lot of Shivas here for the defense, so they're just, man, look at them. They're so good at shooting down these forces. Every Shiva explosive plasma barrage they shoot, I guess, is basically like a Tsar shot. Like, look at, they're so good at just completely chewing down on bows of units. But X Factor is still, oh no, there we go. He switched to Shivas of his own. I was gonna say he's still making Tigers. No, he stopped making Tigers. They're not very efficient into this stage of the game anymore. But he has a lot to catch up on. Flying Duck is on 26 Shiva, while X Factor is just constructing his own. No advanced fusion available for him as well, but he's still up on the energy generation because he still has these advanced geothermals. He still has the wind turbines, which are so good on this map. Grunts flowing in from every side will continuously deny DC expansion from going up, ensuring that he stays up on the metal production. But the army value, that's where it's scary at the moment. Basically almost double available for Flying Duck. Yeah, I mean, X Factor needs to defend this attack or he's in huge trouble. What is he choosing to? He's choosing to go for bombers. I'm assuming these are not going to be defensive bombers. These are going to be offensive bombers. We'll try to pop the advanced fusion reactor in the middle of Flying Duck space. If he does so successfully, it will be guaranteed game over. The explosion from the death of a fusion reactor will also destroy everything else around it. Will destroy all the build power. There will be no way for Duck to keep making units. So this attack is barely it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think X Factor has more airplanes. We'll be able to get the air superiority and get the bombing through. It's looking rough. It's looking rough. Duck needs to make this attack basically be as damaging as the incoming bombing run, or the game will not go in favor for him. One Shiva sneaks in through the north here, manages to get two mixes before going down. We are down to 20 Shiva for the attack here. They're going through. They're going through. They're not stopping. They keep going through. I don't see them slowing down at all. I think only 2 have went down ever since the last time we checked up on these. This advanced geothermal will most likely go down. We see X Factor Life now bring his own Shivas from the back. We'll try to get this flanking damage. Grunts get into the face of the Shiva. When Grunts go into the face of the Shiva like this, it forces them to splash on each other, do a lot of friendly fire damage. But these Shiva are already in the base. They're already in the base. We see 4 Shiva already in the middle of the base. That's the last place you want your opponent to have his Shivas. A fusion will go down. A bunch of winds will go down. Some BP will go down. A bot lab will go down. But we see wasps available for the defense now. No fighters. Oh my god, I missed it. I'm such a dork. I missed the bombing run. It looks like the bombing run succeeded and the bombers managed to get the Aphis. But what is that? An advanced fusion reactor down on 0% health. Still available for Duck. It's basically his only energy generation together with this advanced geothermal on the other side. The attacking Shivas get mopped up. What a game, dude. I feel so bad for missing that bombing run. But you guys know what happened. The bombers came in, dropped the bombs on the advanced fusion, blew it up, and blew up everything else. The only thing that survived is this advanced fusion on 0% health. I've never seen that before. This is crazy. I surely thought that from this distance they will blow up, but apparently they don't. A few grunts find this advanced geothermal here in the north. They will take it down. This Shiva will go down, and the attack seems to have lost force for Duck, and he doesn't really have the capability to produce any new units as his build power went down to the bombing run. We will see a very powerful counterattack mount up here for X Factor very, very soon. Man, what a game on our what a game we just witnessed, dude. I'm so happy we got to see that. This Shiva will get degunned, and all we have left for the attack is a flak truck that sadly is not equipped at shooting at anything apart from planes. Damn, what a game. But I believe this to be the beginning of the end for Flying Duck. I don't want to count him out just yet. He did get his build power back up, is producing more and more units. He has a lot of metal in the bank, so he can drop a lot of units very quickly. But this type of bombing run is usually not one you come back from. Damn, what a game. We see 11 Shiva, some bombers, and some wasps marching forward. Not really anything up to stop them. Flying Duck gets a message in the chat saying never over, right? He will try to come back as this is the last game of the series. Obviously, you never want to bow down. You always want to try to grasp on any last win condition you can find. But ultimately, I don't see it. These 2 Shiva that managed to break through the front will get picked off by the wasps. Not much damage going to be dealt on that front. Now we have some Cargonet out. They are better at defending themselves from air. Still not going to be enough to get any valuable damage done. These 12, 13 Shivas now from X Factor, slowly but surely marching into the base of Flying Duck. Not enough units available here for the defense. These Shivas will go through. The only saving grace here for Flying Duck is if you can get some clutch D-guns. The same ones X Factor got earlier into this game. I would love to see a jammer being built here and Flying Duck cloaking and hoping that X Factor forgets to spread the Shivas around and provides the opportunity for some clutch D-guns. Checking in on these Cargonet from earlier. Marching in, obviously Cargonet all-terrain units, they can climb through these mountains. For some reason they choose not to, even though they're exactly ordered to go over these mountains. That's weird. Why are they going around? They are all-terrain units. They can just climb. Yeah, you see, like, that's weird. Yeah, there you go. Duck now manually moves the Karg to go over here. This Cargonet meets a Shiva. The advanced fusion, the advanced geothermal, sorry, goes down here on the north. And yeah, these the Shiva going strong still. Kind of, this card kind of making it awkward here for X Factor to defend as he can get up on this rock, but these Shivas really cannot. Still, it should get cleaned up. It should not find any damage. 2 more hits. And the rocket. Boom, boom. There we go. Goes down. This Gargnet from earlier is just chilling. And yeah, I'm wondering why X Factor doesn't just go for it with the Shiva. I mean, I guess he's trying to play it safe. He's probably thinking me feeding a bunch of reclaim here on the doorstep of my opponent is the only way I lose this game. Let me mount up more units. Let me bring them all in the ball together. And let me go in for a sure attack. And now Duck going for bombers of his own. I mean, this could work actually. X Factor doesn't really have a lot of fighters left. He's making them slowly, but he's making them slowly out of this tier 2 lab, but Duck has a lot. To be fair, most of Duck's fighters are tier 1. So it's kind of a 50-50 bombing run here. Bombers going in. They're sent to attack here. We see 2 flak emplacements for X Factor. You need to send the fighters in, Duck, as well. You need to send the fighters and the bombers. There we go. He sees now. He sends them in. But it's too late. The bombers are going to go down. That is a shame. Yeah. Alright, the Shiva's going in now. Kind of taking a roundabout path to the base. But with such number superiority, it's very easy to pick up any defending stragglers. And yeah, I think this group of units here will end the game. This Gargnet actually made it through. He killed 5 Electractors before going down to the D-gun. Everybody is equal to the D-gun. The commander does not care whether it's a grunt, whether it's a behemoth. Everything goes down. It's the one true equalizer in life and in game. 6 Resbots working on getting this Aphis back up. I don't believe this will happen. Wait, are we stabilizing a little bit here? Wow, we are actually stabilizing. The game is not over. Wow, Flying Duck manages to mount up enough Shiva to counter this attack. And the reclaim field is in his area. I need to drink some water, man. I'm losing my voice. What a game. A long macro 1v1 games will do this to you. But I believe these types of games are the most exciting games in Bar. Another Gargnet on the mountain goes down. Now we're just looking at Shiva versus Shiva engagements here. 7,000 metal on the ground available just in this area for Flying Duck. Immediately sends Resbots to grab it. Only 2 Resbots available, so the better choice is just to reclaim. If you choose to resurrect, it will take forever. And man, damn, we're back to like being kind of 50-50 here in the middle. Obviously the army value looking very much in favor of X Factor Live. The metal per second we cannot actually accurately check right now because of this reclaim, but X Factor Live should be ahead on the metal per second front, as he's now rebuilding his lost metal extractors to that one raiding Gargnet. Damn, I'm just gonna shut up for a second and we're just gonna take a look at this beautiful battlefield with missiles and plasma shots going around. Bar is so beautiful, man. I am an Armada player myself, but I will admit these tier 3 Cortex versus Cortex fights are very cinematic. They're just full of just raw damage, just rockets and plasma shots flying everywhere. We see X Factor now make a few tier 2 air constructors, try to regain what was lost on the map, remaking the metal extractors, the advanced geos that he lost, trying to climb up back to where he was in the statistics from earlier. Always a very good way to make sure you do not ever go behind in a winning game. Yeah, truly revolutionary information here I'm dropping. Getting more metal and more energy helps you get ahead in the game, guys. Yeah, I mean, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep insights like these ones. But yeah, we're kind of just stuck in tier 3 Cortex versus tier 3 Cortex skirmishes, and Flying Duck manages to get a 10 Shiva attack going down the south here. Wow, I mean, I thought the game was over. I thought the game was over earlier. It apparently was not. Wow, Flying Duck was managed to get a lot of units out. That army value getting closer and closer. Still very much in favor of X Factor here. And these Shivas should not get caught out. But it looks like they will. Wasps available now for the defense for the 17th time this game. These forces from the middle will get split off from the other army and sent here to reinforce. Yeah, everything collapsing on top of these Shivas at once. Once were 10 Shivas, now down to 7. We'll go down to 6, 5 slowly. The fighters flying over. Looks like a military parade. We got one of everybody. Everybody is here. These Shivas go down and a lot of reclaim gets dropped on the X Factor side of the field. It will definitely boost his chances and yeah, man, like their army value statistics are back to being 100%. In favor of X Factor. He has double the army. We have to keep in mind, a lot of that is fighters, a lot of that is grunts. It's not only pure Shiva and Karganeth. But these units, they still count. They count in my heart, at least. Okay, 8 Shiva forming here for the north, but Duck decides to call the GG. He doesn't believe in his ability to win this game anymore. And wow, what a series! X Factor wins 2-1. And proceeds on to the next round of the tournament. Damn, man, what a series. This was a crazy game. We see a 39-minute game on Otago. I swear, man, some of these macro maps, they bring out the craziest games. Looking at the statistics here, Meadow produced, it was never too far, you know, for anybody here. Like, X Factor was ahead for most of the game, but it was never ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It was never like a truly one-sided game. It was kind of even through and through until that bombing run that I, in my great spectator skills, missed. Energy produced graph also looking ahead for X Factor, but this was a very close game. We have to remember his tier 2 transition was kind of rocky. He almost lost his entire base if it wasn't for some very, very clutch D-guns. He had a chance to lose this game. And Flying Duck almost proceeded to the next stage. Wow. Thank you guys very much for coming with me on this journey. Thank you for tuning into the Barcast channel. Please hit a subscribe and let me know down in the comments below how how bad of a spectator I am. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.